Hi there again. This is Lori Cheek with another tech tip on Moby Max. I'm just going to show you how to assign specific lessons. So usually during break, what I do is I go through my curriculum and I see what skills we'll be doing that 9 weeks. For instance, this 9 weeks we're doing informational text. So I am logged on right now as a teacher and I go to reading skills informational. I will get into all of this awesome accountability stuff that you can see in groups in different tutorials. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and just show you how I assign lessons to my students based on our unit of study. So in Reading Skills Informational, I do go to Lessons, and I can see what lessons my students have completed. And what I normally do is within a module of study, like for instance, this 9 weeks we're working on different media. Michelle here has gotten a 6%. Or 60%. I'm not really happy with that. I'm going to probably reassign some of that stuff. But I actually do give 100%, 100-point lessons to each module. They have several lessons within them. So this person's doing pretty well. They have a 93 on different media and multiple interpretations. They have an 85. So we'll get into that later. But how did I even assign those? I went into Lessons and Assign. And I went through and looked at all of my skills that my students were going to be learning this 9 weeks. And then I choose a group to assign it to. I suggest having a big bulk group of all your students. And I did explain how to do groups in a different tutorial. But I do bulk updates so that I can assign them to all my students so I don't have to do separate class periods and remember what I did. So I look through the different lessons that they have. You can either show it by lesson or by standard. I know by looking at certain things, we were talking this 9 weeks about different media. So I usually click that, but then I click on this to make sure that each of these things are actually included in my state standards. And in this case, they were. So I hit assign, which I'm going to go ahead and get out of the bulk updates and just do this on a test person. So I'm going to, actually I have my daughter signed up, so I'm going to just do this all for her. So if I went to grade 8 again, because that's what I teach, and sometimes I find I can't find things that I need in grade 8 because for some reason the normal, our state standards don't match up with Common Core and they're in a different grade. But I know that for sure different media, I double check by clicking on this. These are two things that are definitely in my standards. So I hit assign and I can say top, bottom, or lesson by grade level. So I put that on the top. I also know we were doing some multiple interpretations, but we were also doing key individual events and ideas. So I kind of wanted to fish around on those and see what we could do and what we could assign this 9 weeks. Now, we already did author's bias last 9 weeks when we were doing some of our persuasive stuff, so I don't really want to assign that again. And we also talked about arguments. But in this 9 weeks, we were going to talk about facts and interpretations, kind of, although we've kind of already hit that. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off. But we definitely wanted to know points of disagreement between two texts, how authors, stop it, bug, emphasize and interpret different facts differently, and why two texts provide conflicting information. Those are specifically listed in my standards through Warren Township. So I only clicked those 3 and hit assign, and I'm going to put them at the bottom because I want them under the other section that I've already made. So like I said, another thing that we are working on this 9 weeks is key individual events and ideas. So I clicked on it, but yet I'm going to go ahead and click on that down arrow to see if I need all of these. And as I look through, all of these are actually mentioned in my specific Indiana state standards. So I kept those checked. And I went ahead and assigned those at the bottom again, so it's underneath the others. So that is what I know we are working on this 9 weeks. So if I would like to choose to sequence them, maybe change up the order, I could do so here. For instance, if I check on my daughter, Lainey, I know she has 4 assignments. If I want to switch their order, because right now she's on affect, it says in roots from last 9 weeks, but I could either delete that, change orders, that kind of stuff you can do here. So even if you want to delete a lesson, that's how you would do that. Once a student has completed a lesson, when you go to completed lessons, like I said, you can pull up their information. If they're in the middle of it, you can see what their progress is. If I go ahead and change this to a different group, I would be able to see progress on different students as well. So if I want to know how Michelle's doing on multiple interpretations, not very well. She got a 35 and then a 40 the second time. At least she went up. But I can see she spent actually 105 seconds on this. But she answered incorrectly. And here was the correct answer. So I could call her up and talk to her about that if I wanted to. On all of these that she got wrong. Here's all I have the... I could report a problem if there was a problem through the program. I can also reassign the lesson to her, which I'm going to do because that's obviously not going to work out. Reassign it, but at least I know that she's tried twice. I need to talk to her about that. And that's how I can check the assignments that I have assigned to my students. If you just want to look at the library, you can click on library to see all what's out there. And from there, you could even make paper copies like a worksheet, although it won't have the videos to explain. But if I want to look at all these lessons, I could to see what the questions are like, what it looks like. So sometimes I do that when I'm going through trying to decide on what I want to assign to my students. That's kind of nice. But that's basically how you assign lessons, and you can do that in any area. So, for instance, in math, if I want to get a snapshot of what they're doing right now, I can see that. But if I want to actually assign specific lessons, I go to Lessons. I go to Assign. I pick the student or group that I want to assign that to. So once again, I'll just pick my test for my daughter, Lainey. Pick the grade level. So if I want her to work on functions, I click that and I see which lessons and functions I want her to do. So maybe I only want her to do a few of them. I can do that, hit assign, and that's what she'll be assigned. And I can sequence the order in which she gets it and so on. Once she's started the lesson, I'll be able to see that in Snapshot to see how she's doing. So if I know this person got a 67%, that's not too great, or an 85, I can go ahead and click on it to see, oh, what did they do? 55 seconds on this. What did they answer? What was the right answer? And talk to them about it. So that's just a little bit of information on how to assign lessons and see how your students did on them. Stay tuned.